Matt Gregory, CCO of Houza. We're a sort of startup scale-up, if you like, in Dubai. Now founded for about the last 2.5 years. Inspiration comes from startup, small team. I was employee number 3 in the UAE. It's not a corporate, you're setting everything. You're not inheriting everything. And I think I really like that as an opportunity that's out in front of you, right? I think that if you've got the opportunity to create something with people that you know, which was really important for me. So both Barry and Seb, who were employees 1 and 2, I knew already from previous companies. So for me, that was a real draw when given that opportunity of CCO at Houza. So Houza is a challenger property portal, if you like. We are really taking it to what is the duopoly of portals in Dubai. So you have 2 other portals, very traditional. Estate agencies pay lots of money in order to list their properties on them. Houza is slightly different. We have to be different, otherwise you're just status quo for what is already there, and VCs won't back you. You really need to have a point of difference, actually, not just one, but multiple. One of ours is the opportunity that we have where our investors are actually real estate companies. When we have the market, arguably we have 15 of the largest real estate companies in Dubai that are our actual investors. And what that gives us is access to their content. We have their content. We're likely to play a content card at some point in the future. That gives us an opportunity to make sure that as a consumer, you want to come to Houza, to see everything that's new. The opportunity here as being a challenger board is we do things differently, right? We break the status quo, we disrupt things, and we be a thorn in the side of what are the big 2. And again, that's sort of what's exciting about this opportunity. One, we're a startup. There's challenge number 1. I mean, like yourselves at Trigg, right? You've got to really get involved, roll your sleeves up, all of those things that enable you to really get a business off the ground. Secondly, you're up against 2 monsters of portals, right? It's similar to the UK. You've got Rightmove and Zoopla. These guys are huge in their own right. Now, clearly the property market in the UAE is nowhere near as big as that as the UK. Not as established, but you've still got the same challenges, right? Performance marketing spend, you can't go toe to toe with these guys. You've got to make sure that you're doing it in the right way. Attracting clients, right? It's free, or it was free. You've then got to go through the pricing journey with clients to say, hey, it was free and now we've got to charge. And of course, in sales, that brings its own challenges. So all of those things that we're working through and enable us to have no day is the same. We're lucky enough to have a really smart team, a small team but super smart team, and those guys come with data and opportunity and ways in which we can actually look at trends and not even trends but just everything within our market all in one place. That enables us to react quickly because we're not scrabbling around for well, as I've said before, for Excel sheets and pivot tables and all these things. We have dashboards. Those dashboards enable us to really make sure that our finger is on the pulse with regards to all the trends that we're likely to want to see. And if we see something that we're not actually capturing, then again, the smart minds within Houza enable us to really pivot to that very, very quickly. It comes back to making sure that you've got a well-rounded team of super smart individuals where that particular position needs it. And I think that we cover that and in abundance. Real estate is fast changing, but it's really the market that's changing. What we want to try and do is make sure that as a property platform, that actually we're changing before the rest of the market with the technology that we can actually deploy. Offering data to a consumer on a property platform is not new, right? But it is new in the UAE. So it's making sure that actually you understand what's happening on a global level to make sure that you can bring it in to the sort of the UAE as quickly as you can, because you know that the other portals are doing the same thing. Now, we're quite lucky in the respect that our investors are actually real estate companies, and that enables us to have far more feedback coming into the business with regards to what may work, what may not, to make sure that we be proactive in our approach, not reactive to what other people are doing. So that hopefully gives us an opportunity, especially because there's only 18 people in the whole of Houza, right? So we can be really nimble as and when we see new opportunities. So that I think is something that we really hold at our heart. It's sort of that nimbleness, be it speed and being able to deploy super quick. The CRM enables us to have to understand where the business is going, right? To understand what we've actually got out there as opportunities, what we've got out there to close between the three of us. You know, who are we invoicing, who are we not? What are those reasons that we're not? So from a sales perspective, you know, it enables us to have, you know, foresight into where we might be as a business. From a sort of commercial perspective, it enables us to be able to be really quick with marketing campaigns, making sure that we're hitting the right people at the right time, to be able to build sort of campaigns around, you know, client acquisition as well as client retention, all from a marketing perspective. So without a CRM, that would be difficult. Using Excel in order to do that stuff would bring around challenges and probably mistakes. But a CRM really enables far more accuracy and far more speed. New technology is always important. Again, we have a look at what else is out there. We see what we're doing. We were the first in the UAE to deploy WhatsApp tracking, and that was working with a partner who were experts in that. Rather than build it ourselves, which would take time, and given that we've got a limited amount of tech resource, we partnered with someone. It's really what we want to do. We want to make sure that we can deploy as quickly as possible, making sure that we keep abreast of all the new technologies that enable us to get one step in front of what are the key, I suppose the biggest portals in the UAE. It really, for me, it's not about 5 years ago, right? I mean, I've owned property in the UK for the last 25 years. It's the property market is different in the UAE. It's quicker, it moves faster. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. Now that's measured in years, of course, but in the UK it's more decades. So you've really got to adapt to what is the changing market. And you know, I've got friends that own houses in the UAE that in 2020, August 2020, are in negative equity. You know, 12 months later, they're sitting on a gold mine, right? I mean, things move around so quickly. Can it carry on? I mean, I see a lot of people every week in my job, you know, owners of real estate companies, you know, some of them own multiple properties themselves. Every opinion is different, other than the fact that it probably can't go on in the same trajectory that it is. It'll probably cool off. As and when that happens, look, my crystal ball is as cloudy as everyone else's. We just don't know. Do you know what? Startups and scale-ups is, you know, being a CCO in a startup and scale-up. By the way, you know, prior to this, it was more sales director stuff, but now, you know, being a CCO in a corporate, completely different to being a CCO in a startup. Corporate people that I've spoke to that are CCOs, you've got teams of people around you. Right, teams of people, not just sales teams, but data teams. You've got, you know, analysts. You've got all sorts of individuals that help you make decisions. When you're at a startup, it's you, two other people that clearly you trust because that's where you joined the company, from a CEO and a COO and the people that I know. Two of us, or two others in the business, but myself being the third. You know, you've got to make decisions yourself. Right? The most important thing, or the advice that I always give, is be prepared to roll your sleeves up. You know, dig out those sales manuals, and, you know, understand exactly how to approach clients, what to do, and, you know, just understand that you're going to be traveling, you're going to be on the road, you're going to be doing meetings, you're going to set yourself KPIs that you would have set your team. And I think that as long as you understand that working as a CCO in a startup scale-up means that actually you're the one doing the job. Now, I'm quite lucky, we've moved out of that sort of scale-up, startup into scale-up. Now I've got some people that I trust around me doing sales as well, but again, you know, it comes with trust. We don't have time to build people in like we used to do at Gumtree, right? Bring in people, graduates, and give them training courses and 6 months in which to shine. This is week, then you're out, right? And you need to surround yourself with people that you trust. That's it, right? I think those are the two bits of advice. Surround yourself with people that you trust when you get to a point that you can actually hire people. And secondly, be prepared to roll your sleeves up and just do the job. It's probably, you know, just work harder, right? You know, it was a case where you felt that things would happen. For me back then, it was a case of, look, you know, it was more about working to live than living to work. And I think that, you know, back then it would probably have been, look, you know, knuckle down that bit more, really make sure that you're, you know, embracing every opportunity that's given you from from bosses and I suppose people that you look up to, right the way through my career, just taking bits of what they've done and really making sure that I installed it into what is the sort of character or the leader that I am today. But really, when I go back to sort of first jobs, second jobs prior to working with your good self, really much more about focus, understand what actually you need to do, what that end result is, and make sure that you really drive towards it.